The House of Representatives investigates the recently modified agreement signed by the federal government with Global Steel Holdings Limited for the Nigerian iron ore mining company. I'm Blinda Akibe, and you're welcome to the Gavel. The National Assembly is on recess, but lawmakers are attending to legislative work. During the week, the House of Representatives held an investigative hearing to examine the recently modified agreement signed by the federal government with Global Steel Holdings Limited for the Nigerian iron ore mining company. The agreement has raised several issues as to what Nigeria stands to benefit from the agreement and the role of the regulatory agencies in the agreement process.
This is an investigative hearing organized by the House of Representatives Committee on Privatization and Commercialization. Lawmakers, the Minister of State on Solid Minerals and concerned Nigerians are here to understand the details of the recent modified agreement signed by the federal government with Global Steel Holdings Limited for the Nigerian iron ore mining company NIOMCO Itakpe and Ajaokuta Steel Company Limited. On August 1st, 2016, the Minister of Solid Minerals, Mr. Kayode Fayemi, signed a renegotiated concession agreement on behalf of the federal government with Global Steel Holdings Limited for the Nigerian iron ore mining company, NIOMCO Itakpe. The Minister of Solid Minerals insists that the renegotiated concession agreement would remove the obstacles which have prevented Ajaokuta Steel Company Limited from performing at optimal capacity. But criticisms are following the agreement, as the Bureau of Public Enterprises (BPE) say they were excluded from the renegotiation process, thereby making the agreement null and void, since BPE, the technical partner of the National Council of Privatization, did not participate in the process. This hearing is meant to get to the root of the matter. The minister highlights the issues which led to the federal government arriving at the decision to look at a new agreement.
The arbitral proceedings started from 2008 and was moving interminably, and the plans could not be utilized as was originally intended. It is important to stress here that while the arbitration lasted, the federal government of Nigeria was hindered from allowing any third party from undertaking the rehabilitation, completion, operation of the plants in order not to prejudice the arbitration outcome. Consequently, the federal government of President Jonathan was of the view that a settlement out of court represented the best option to resolve the logjam, having taken a legal advice and was aware of the fact that the cost of termination will be substantial.
The Minister of State Solid Minerals also speaks about the benefit of the modified concession agreement to Nigeria.
The federal government has succeeded in releasing the Ajaokuta Steel plant from arbitral encumbrances which has held it bound since 2008. 2. The federal government can now engage freely the many foreign and local investors who have expressed interest to partner with government for the rehabilitation, completion, and operation of the foremost integrated steel plant in Nigeria.
Then, stakeholders present their position on this matter. They say they were neither involved nor consulted in the initial concession agreement.
The original concession of Ajaokuta Steel Company to Global Steel was not handled by the Bureau. It was not handled by BPE at all. The original concession, the one that happened in 2004. When subsequently an SPA, a share sale agreement was to be done to replace the concession program, BPE was called upon to work with the parties to come up with a share sale agreement to that effect. That share sale agreement was subsequently signed, but the transaction was not brought to a closure. So in other words, the concession agreement remained, and the possession by Global Steel of the Ajaokuta Steel Company and NIOMCO remained.
We are totally against the idea of allowing GIHL back to Ethiopia, NL, for obvious reasons. We have documents. We've written to the presidency, giving that is President Jonathan Goodluck, giving him reasons why they should not be allowed to come back. Their atrocities are there for everyone to see. But I'm also happy that the government is in the know of this. But however, as obedient citizens, as progressives, as peace-loving people, we must support the government to succeed.
Members of the committee are, however, dissatisfied with the process that brought about the concession agreement.
Laudable as your intention of this, of a ministry is and the government is. Now, if everyone seated here, most of the stakeholders seated here today, were not considered or carried along, for you to come to this conclusion, and in whose interest exactly, sir? I'm really concerned, as a representative of the people, Mr. Minister, sir, as a representative of the people, our concern is to make sure that any decision you make in government, in public sector, must be that has the clear interest of the people at heart.
Members of the committee, however, says that going forward, the Ministry of Solid Minerals should work in conjunction with the Bureau for Public Enterprises, BPE, to find a way forward on the signed agreement in conformity with the law.
There wasn't a right mechanism of either privatization or commercialization or concession of the sector. And we're here to look into it and find an ultimate solution so there wouldn't be back and forth, especially when it comes to the issues of management, privatization, and so forth. In the committee here, we have a subcommittee on steel that we're given the responsibility to track and to work with all the stakeholders in the process of finding a lasting solution to the crisis facing the Ajakuta. Therefore, I asked all the stakeholders here present to bear with us, at the same time give us the all necessary cooperation so that we'll achieve our objective for the betterment of Nigeria.
The Senate is also set to begin an investigation of its own.
The Senate Committee on Aviation is to meet with Ibe Kachuku over the scarcity of aviation fuel in the country. The chairman of the Senate Committee on Aviation, Senator Adamu Alero, said this after meeting with government agencies under the Ministry of Aviation. Many Nigerians traveling by air have had to contend with flight delays for weeks, as airlines are blaming this on scarcity of aviation fuel.
It is very embarrassing for foreign airlines to be going to neighboring countries to fuel before coming into Nigeria, despite the fact that we are an oil-producing nation. And we promise that we will look into this problem and we will do our very best to find a solution to it. And in doing that, we have to invite the minister in charge of petroleum affairs. We will discuss this issue with him so that a solution could be found, as soon as possible. Secondly, the issue of non-repatriation of airline sales. We will look at the Enabling Act. There are a number of obstacles that are making it difficult for foreign airlines to repatriate whatever money they earn. And we will liaise with the CBN and the Ministry of Finance to see what can be done in order to facilitate the remittance of these proceeds.